All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today we're tackling a tough one, bullying and gang activity.
Mm.
And to help us unpack this, we're looking at this YouTube video. It's called Stop Bullying Prevents Suicides.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful title, and it's interesting. Right off the bat, they advocate for this like multi-pronged approach,
Yeah.
not just dealing with the aftermath, but how do we prevent it? How do we build a culture that doesn't tolerate this?
I like that. It's proactive.
Yeah.
So they jump right in, and their first point is all about establishing clear policies, like anti-bullying and anti-gang policies
Mhm.
in every school, which seems pretty obvious. But, we're talking about defining what bullying is, what gang activity looks like, what the consequences are, and this is a big one, making sure there's support for victims. Out of all that, what do you think is like the most critical piece?
I think it all starts with having that clear definition, right? Like, what is bullying? What are we talking about when we say gang activity? Because if you don't have that, it gets really murky really fast.
Yeah, it's subjective.
Exactly. So everybody, students, teachers, parents, they need to be on the same page.
Right. Then you can enforce it. You can actually,
Mhm.
have consequences and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, so then when we talk about support for victims, what's actually been shown to help kids who've, been through this?
Mental health resources are huge.
Okay.
But, and this is key, it can't just be like, oh, here's a pamphlet, good luck.
Right.
You need actual
Mhm.
effective therapies.
Like what?
Well, there's CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Studies show that can be really helpful for adolescents dealing with the trauma of bullying. But then there's the whole issue of access. Can kids actually afford these therapies?
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation, especially for, underserved communities.
Absolutely.
So the video, they go on to talk about train staff in schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
To recognize these things. Bullying, gang activity,
Yeah.
to respond to it. And they talk about having safe ways for kids to report what's going on. Why is that training so important?
Well, you can't just expect teachers to magically know how to deal with this stuff.
Oh,
It's complicated. So training gives them the tools like, how do you spot the warning signs? How do you intervene without making things worse?
Yeah.
How do you create a space where kids feel safe coming forward?
So it's not just like reacting after something blows up.
Exactly. Proactive, not reactive. And with reporting, kids need to know they can speak up without fear.
Without being like retaliated against. Okay, this is where I thought it got really interesting. The video talks about gang prevention programs.
Yeah.
What kind of programs actually work, to keep kids out of gangs?
Mentoring is huge. Having a positive adult in your life can make a world of difference if you're a kid who's, vulnerable.
Right.
But we also need education, and not just like math and English.
What do you mean?
Teach kids how to resolve conflicts peacefully,
Okay.
how to manage their emotions.
So life skills, basically.
Exactly. Equip them with the tools to make good choices. But look, we can't ignore the root causes either, right?
Like what?
Poverty, trauma, lack of opportunity, counseling that addresses those underlying issues. That's key to breaking the cycle.
So it's a multi-layered approach again, right? Hitting it from all sides.
Right.
And then they bring up community partnerships.
Right.
Why is that so important, like getting the whole community involved in this fight?
It takes a village, right? Schools can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Community organizations can provide resources like after-school programs, things for kids to do so they're not on the streets,
Okay.
counseling for families. They can create that safety net that some kids desperately need.
So it's not just contained within the school walls, it's a
Yeah.
broader.
Exactly.
Okay, last thing from the video. This is the one that always gets people talking. Police presence.
Yeah.
More police in schools, more police in the community.
It's a tough one.
It is, yeah. What are your thoughts on that? The benefits, the drawbacks?
I mean, on the surface, yeah, more police might deter some crime. But we have to be so careful.
Okay, yeah.
We don't want to create a climate of fear, especially in schools.
Right.
The focus should be on community policing, building trust between law enforcement and the community.
So it's more about relationships than just like cracking down.
Exactly. We need kids to see police officers as resources, as mentors, not just as, enforcers.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's about finding that balance.
Absolutely.
Well, this video is, it was a lot. It was a lot to process.
It is a complex issue.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway for me is that there's no easy answer.
Right.
There's no magic bullet. It's about this whole like multi-pronged approach, addressing it from every angle.
And it's going to take all of us.
That's a good point to end on. So as you're listening to this, think about it. What can you do in your community? Can you volunteer? Can you advocate for more resources? Can you just, start having conversations with your kids about this stuff?
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. All right, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.